Welcome everybody to episode 4 of Wrestling with Hykiri. Thank you all for the video, watch time, and the views. I appreciate it, so let's dive right into it, right? Not much happened this week. Rumor wise, not too much to talk about. I guess it was a slow week. But we got some decent matches on the different shows this week. One particular would be awesome. Or was awesome, I should say. And then, of course, we have Cesaro was released, which is sad because Cesaro is a great wrestler. And I think if he was used right, he could have been a very big name in WWE, but I guess it wasn't in the cards. But I wish Cesaro the best. Whenever he shows up, he's a great wrestler. He deserves all the fame and fortune. So moving right into it, let's talk more about Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Title versus title, and what this means for the WWE brand. And you have that title versus title. You're taking away 2 spots from 2 other wrestlers. And you're doing it on the biggest show of the year. So 2 people, unfortunately, won't have main event matches because the 2 arguably biggest names in wrestling right now are going to be fighting each other. And that's good and bad. Bad because they're both big guys, so I don't expect this match to go longer than 7 minutes. Well, it is WrestleMania. Maybe 10 minutes, not including entrances, which will be spectacular. Because WrestleMania always has the biggest and the best entrances of all time. But the positive to this is they're the biggest names in wrestling right now. Whenever you mention Brock Lesnar, you automatically sell tickets. So you know this match is going to be sold out just because Brock is on the card. Then you add Roman Reigns into it, who is the highest selling merchandise wrestler in WWE history. And he's a heel. And which means, for you wrestling noobs, he's a bad guy. So Brock again, well, I guess right now Brock is portrayed as a face. I would say maybe a neutral, but more on a face side, I guess, from a WWE standpoint. But these guys are big. So this is going to be a very hard hitting, fast matchup. You're going to see a lot of signature maneuvers, not much technical wrestling, a good bit of brawling, probably even some blood, and maybe a submission attempt by Roman, or maybe Brock will pull up a surprise Kimura lot, and if not, to slow it down. Maybe, I don't know, but expect to see some German suplexes, lots of spears, and lots of more German suplexes, and a few Superman punches. But definitely German suplexes. Suplex City, right? But, if this match becomes champion versus champion, or it becomes because it is. This means whoever wins is becomes the champion of both shows. So does this mean that the SmackDown and Raw brands are coming to a close split? Or it'll be no longer be 2 separate shows? Or we get all our championships unified once again? Because of roster cuts. Possibly, maybe roster cuts. That way you see more of your bigger name guys wrestling on both shows. Slow it down, new matches. More travel time. I don't know about this. I would in the brand split. It's a good decision either way. But I've always enjoyed the brand split because you're able to show off a lot more different names than you would on one brand. That way you can see your favorite guys on Mondays and your other favorite guys on Fridays. And then when pay per view comes around, you can see them both. So I think it's a positive to keep the brand split. But I don't know how you're gonna do closes. I don't know if this is because you lost a lot of guys for roster cuts because of COVID. I don't think they're really hurting for money. A lot of guys are gone. Some shouldn't have been around, but there were a couple that left, a couple that wanted to leave. I don't know, it's interesting. We'll just see how it turns out. Keep it up with WrestleMania. It looks like the Kevin Owens and um, Stone Cold Steve Austin match is not going to happen. And I'm so okay with that. I did not want that match to happen. But the setup, what we're seeing right now, is also something that I didn't want to see happen. They're putting Seth and Kevin Owens together as a tag team. You're talking about two of the best wrestlers in the world right now. That should be main eventing WrestleMania, but you're gonna put them in a tag team. I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. I think I think Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins would have had great main event matches for WrestleMania if it wasn't Brock versus Roman. I think we were looking at a Roman versus Seth rematch and a Kevin Owens versus Brock rematch. So I would love to see both of those. But I think putting them in a tag team match is a bad idea. Because these guys deserve single pushes. I really understand that not everybody can be a champion. And Roman and Brock have been busting. Roman more than Brock. Roman's been champion for over 100 days. And he's carrying the company as a heel. When I see him Punk had to do it as a face. And only did he lose it when he turned heel in that title run. So Roman holding on to the title this long in this company as a heel just going to show you how great his work ethic is. And Brock, I'm not a big Brock Lesnar fan, but I can appreciate it when you see somebody working to show everybody that he deserves to be there. He deserves his spot. And Brock's doing it right now. In his current run with WWE, I think he's enjoying himself and putting in the work. So that's good. So I think, I would have loved to see the same matches, but I still think a tag team is a bad idea. Now let's talk about the NXT 2.0. Horrible name, by the way. But we ended the show this week with Dolph Ziggler versus Tommaso Ciampa. What a match. That's a 5-star match. Match of the year candidate. When the opening bell, Ciampa was countering Dolph. Dolph was countering Ciampa. And it was amazing. We had high flying, we had groundwork, we had standing switches, we had a submission game, we even had an outside game. We had some cheating tactics. The match had it all. It told a great story and showed everybody that Tommaso Ciampa is one of the greats. And, and a lot of people are going to say it didn't like the ending because it ended in disqualification. But it's okay because the match was so long and it flew so well on time. And the wrestling flow was just so good. That told such a good story that the interference was the right call because it saved their face. You didn't make Dolph look bad. You didn't make Ciampa look weak. Both men came out of this match being great competitors and telling a great story and still looking strong in the end. And then it sets up a rematch and a tag match, of course, with Robert Roode and Braun Breaker, which has a horrible name as well. But Braun is somebody that I'm thoroughly impressed with. He's a bigger guy, a member of the Steiner family. He's young, has that muscular build, that can fight, technical submission, and a little flying action. And teaming him against Robert Roode with Dolph, and Ciampa is in his corner. So you're going to have another 5-star match. And if they play this right, I don't see this match being any lower than a 4-star match because they're going to tear the house down. Two, three legends, 3 Hall of Fame candidates, a new kid, all in one match. This is like NXT. It's such a great brand that Triple H made. Triple H and Shawn Michaels. These guys that they can't be the future of wrestling are so good. And when some weren't that young, like Ciampa, and let them show themselves. And if I had a few more years, I could have been big in WWE, and he still can. I don't think he'll ever be world champ, but he could be a high card main eventer or SmackDown without any doubt. He showed it in the match against Dolph. So Ciampa deserves a really good push. Doesn't even need to be a champion. Let him do what he does best and carry a match. And you'll have great action. And that's what you need right now to bury AEW. Speaking of AEW, let's talk about them a little bit. And their female division. The AEW has so many big names that they suffer too much in the locker room. It's overcrowded. Even though they got 2 shows, and the YouTube show, he still can't show all the cards, all the wrestlers right now. You have so many names, and even with 3 shows, you can't show everybody. This is the problem you make when you buy off all the WWE releases and put them in your company. I'm not saying don't give them a job, but you can't hire everybody. And WWE, let's go. I think that's the problem that Cody Rhodes and the Omega see. And this is not the company they wanted AEW to become. And it's not just the men, it's the female division as well. A lot of the female wrestlers, on in my opinion, right now cannot handle a 3-star match. They can barely put on a 2-star match. The exceptions being Thunder Rosa and Ruby. Ruby and Thunder are the only females in AEW right now that are capable of putting on a 5-star match. It might be hard to get a 5-star match from them, but they can put a 4-star easy. But it's their opponents. Their opponents lack skill and their timing is bad. If you watch an AEW female wrestling match, you will see so many loose spots and missed spots where they have to just pull themselves with air or fall after the hit. Their timing is so off. And their champion, Britt Baker, she's only champion because AEW doesn't want to lose Adam Cole. And that's sad because she's a great mouthpiece. She's not a great wrestler. She's mediocre at best. Your champion needs to be good on the mic and in the ring and play their gimmick. She's good at the gimmick. She's good at the mic, but a wrestling 2-star tops. The other on their other show, Jade Carwell. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. But good wrestling? Nope. Good on the mic? Nope. Good on the gimmick? Mediocre, maybe. I'm not even really sure what the gimmick is. That's how bad she sells it. Her wrestling is horrible. That girl needs to be told. And the only wrestler who should be doing a glam slam is the Glamazon herself. That Phoenix. She made the move. She owns the move. Jay Carwell, you feel horribly at filling those shoes with that maneuver. You can't pull it off. You have the strength, timing, and your opponent's timing on the maneuver is horrendous. Please stop doing it. Do us all a favor. Get a new finisher. DMV, Britt Breaker, please drop the title. Let Adam Cole do his thing and go back to training camp. Go to NXT. Hell, hire William Regal to personally be your coach. You do not deserve to be a champion. Thunder Rosa, yes. Championship material. Should have been champion 2 weeks since her debut. Ruby, another woman that deserves all the accolades that come with being a champion. I thoroughly think these two women not only deserve it, but would carry the divisions without women. And AEW needs that right now. There's a few other girls that are okay, like the bunny. I like the bunny. Yeah, that's about it. Sorry, AEW division. You need to improve. And now let's talk about our last pick. Danny Garcia versus Brian Danielson. Now, I will tell you, I'm a huge fan of Brian, and Brian can make a 5-star match out of any opponent. But Danny Garcia and Brian Danielson is a huge candidate to me for AW's match of the year. That match alone saved the show. I finished watching the show for that one match right there. Find it on YouTube, even if it's just the highlights. Danny Garcia versus Brian Danielson. Match of the night, match of the year for AEW. They had submissions, they had flying, they had cross submissions. They submitted each other at the same time. Not actually submitted, but locked on a submission on each other at the same time. The groundwork was spectacular. This is a match that is headline WrestleMania. It's over in WWE. And it should be noted how good Danny Garcia could be if he had the right opponent. Because Danielson didn't carry this. Garcia was holding his own there. There were a couple of slips, but you can overlook it because they saved it so nice that it's just good. This was just a great match. One that I highly think everybody should watch. If you're a wrestling fan, you should definitely be watching this matchup. You will not be let down in any shape or form. Well, before we end, that's our last topic. But I just saw a tweet that I want to talk about. Where Adam Cole didn't like the remarks made by what's his name in SmackDown, Pat McAfee over in SmackDown. Adam Cole, I think he's bitter because McAfee called it out and said that, he made a career choice and it was bad. You left a company that believed believed in you so much. They were handing you the keys to drive the car to the top. And instead you leave to go in a company where you're not champion, you're hardly pushed, you have some horrible opponents and feuds, and the creative is so bad. You're rehashing everything that NXT did. Sure, you can argue that right now you're going to be fighting Hangman Page, but and it's for their top championship, but Hangman Page should not be a champion right now. He's a horrible champion. And Adam Cole will carry this match, I'm sure. And hopefully he wins it. And he holds AEW up to a higher level, but and a bigger standard. But Adam Cole, the comments made by Pat McAfee are very true. And it's so childish for you, a professional wrestler, to call out a man who's had one professional wrestling match. And I'm sure he's trained. You've been doing this all your life. He's not on the same level as you are. So you challenging him to a match is not defending your company, but making your company look bad. I said, yeah, guys, I'm going to challenge this guy because he can't wrestle anyway. I mean, I beat him in NXT, but now it's AEW, and I'm going to do it for you because I'm Adam Cole, baby. No, Adam Cole. It don't work that way. This is the problem that Cody Rhodes, Kenny Omega, and now Daniel Bryan are even talking about. Daniel Bryan said himself that when he joined AEW, it was a wrestling dream because he got to do what he always wanted to do, show that he's the best wrestler in the world. Okay, I added that part in. He didn't say he's the best wrestler in the world. But right now, Daniel Bryan is hands down the best wrestler in the world across all companies around the world. Daniel Bryan cannot be topped. And then you have AJ Styles, who is the next under him. So, this guy wanted to wrestle. That's why he joined AEW. And for the lighter schedule. Because he's dad. But, but, yes, Daniel Bryan sees that AEW is no longer the company he dreamed of being a part of, that he wanted to work with. It's no longer about the wrestling. And I think that's what's upsetting all these guys that are speaking out. The company lost the essence of what it could have been. And as a wrestling company, with less dramatics and less story impacting, the pushes and wins and losses turned to that, which the working formula needed to beat WWE. You erase it and you build an overcrowded locker room with mediocre matches where you can't showcase all your talent, much less showcase them to the level where it should be. And now you're turning into everything you said AEW would never become. Sad. It's very sad. Very saddening because I think these guys truly believe in AEW being a company that could beat WWE in the ratings and not just beat them, but do it with wrestling instead of storytelling with weird gimmicks. You had some of the best wrestlers in the world that was winning this rating wars with wrestling, and you take that away, and now you're just the next version of Impact with bigger names. It's sad. Well, thank you all for watching and continuing to support my not only my vlogs but all of my content on YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, Hoover, and even on Instagram. Remember, guys, you can catch me every day, at least for a couple of hours. When I'm live on Twitch, you always have our best vlogs and wrestling stories right here on YouTube. So thank you all for supporting me, giving me the love, and I hope to see you commenting and liking more and more and more. Have a good night, everybody. See you next time. Hykiri out.